Let's talk about habits because they are so challenging to break when they're not so good for us. And they're also really challenging to cultivate even when we've got the most positive intentions at heart. So why is that? And how can we make these much more easier to achieve? Or how can we create habits that we're going to stick to so that we can achieve the goals that we set our hearts to? I'm going to share that with you today and more. Because in this past month in the Life Collective, we've been talking all about creating a daily sadhana, a daily yoga practice. And we spoke about ways to really create something that we're going to commit to with ease. So I want to share that with you today by really understanding firstly what a habit is. So a habit is a reflex or an automatic response to some sort of a cue or stimulus. Now the majority of our day is actually ruled by our habits. It's either habits that we give into or habits that we're resisting against. So the easy habits that we are going with the flow with, that we're giving into, are the mundane things that we do, like waking up, brushing our teeth, having a shower, maybe popping on the kettle, whatever it might be. Anything else that we face in the day, those challenges, is usually some sort of resistance to the habits that we have in our day-to-day. So we really want to learn how we can use this activity that's happening within to our benefit so that we can create positive habits and slip them into our day-to-day so that they become automated. So just like when we go to a gym, when we pick up a weight, we don't start with the 200 kilo weights, do we? We start with something small, and then with time, we gradually build it up. So we're building that resistance muscle pushing against that resistance until we can build the strength to keep going further and further. So a habit is not much different to that at all. So I'm going to refer now to some work by Fogg, all based on his book called Tiny Habits, which I believe is incredibly potent and powerful for any of us wanting to create change in our life. The first thing is exactly what the title suggests. It's tiny habits. So his idea is that whatever you're wanting to achieve, you want to break it down to something that is so small that you can achieve it no matter what. You're creating a baseline by setting the bar so low that even on the days where you feel totally unmotivated, because let's face it, motivation does fluctuate, you're still going to be able to achieve it. So for instance, let's say we're going to create a yoga practice. You might want to do an hour worth of yoga every single day, but some days you're just not going to get there. So maybe we can break that down to something like, I'm going to do 3 yoga poses every single day. Easy enough, right? Even when you're feeling the most challenged, you can pick the most relaxing, restorative postures and still be able to achieve that no matter what. Now, second of all, like I said earlier, a habit is a response or a reflex. So we need a cue, something that we can attach our tiny habit to that we already do, so that when we automatically do that in our day, our new tiny habit just tags along to it. So it might be brushing your teeth. After you brush your teeth, you do your 3 yoga poses. Or perhaps it's as soon as you wake up and your feet hit the floor, you know that you do 3 yoga poses before you go on with your day. Now the important thing to remember here is even though you want to achieve that 1 hour, it doesn't mean that you just do three yoga poses for the day. It's simply just your baseline. Some days you might do 3, 4, 5, or all the way to an hour's worth of practice, or some days you just do your 3. Now the reason for that is because we want to feel that sense of achievement. When we feel that sense of achievement, we get a bit of a dopamine response, or we regulate our dopamine levels within our body. So with habits, when we're cultivating them, they are not so much attached to the repetitive behavior, but more of the emotion that's attached to it. So the more intense we feel an emotion, the more we feel the reward, the more likely we are to repeat that. And then that's how we biohack our brain. So this is Fogg's work. He talks about this as a biohack. So we want to create 3 things. There's 3 ways to do it. So it's a cue, then the habit, and then the reward. Just repeating those 3 things over and over is going to create that dopamine regulation to something that your brain goes, oh, I like this and I want to do it again. You know, that was easy to achieve, so I'm going to do it again tomorrow morning when I wake up and my feet touch the floor. And then with time, it becomes an automated response, a habit. And then with time, it will naturally build. So it doesn't matter what you do, as long as you do those 3 poses or whatever it is, it will naturally build with time. So you don't need to force it. And that is as simple as it gets. So remember those 3 things, right? Tiny habits, something that's achievable, okay? Second of all, a cue. Attach it to a cue that you are going to be able to already do within your day that you're attaching it to. And then the reward is simply achieving that. You might even take that further if you'd like to, that's up to you. But by just simply achieving something that you really want to do and creating something small, you're going to build not that resistance, well, I suppose, but you're going to build that adaptability and that need and want to keep growing on that habit, right? You're biohacking yourself. So I hope that helps. Let me know what you feel and what your thoughts are below. I'd love to hear from you, and share this with anybody you know that will benefit. Namaste.